Brazil. Brazil went to the World Bank many years ago and said, we'd like to build Brasilia. We want to make a great nation down here in South America. We need a loan. The IMF said, sure. We'd be glad to give you a few $1 billion, but we want some collateral. Oh, Brazil said, fine. We own the wealthiest land in the world, the Amazon River Basin. Oh, they said, come on, let us have that as collateral, and we'll be more than happy to give you billions of dollars to build your country. They built Brasilia. They did everything imaginable. Finally, Brazil couldn't quite make it, like none of these other third world countries can too well, except Chavez and a few others. They wouldn't denominate in dollars. And so they said, Brazil comes back and says, oh, we can hardly even make the interest on the payments. The World Bank said, no problem. We'll be glad to give you another line of credit. You know, they didn't give them any money. Didn't give them any gold, no silver, diamonds. Brazil had all that. What did they give them? Computer entry. So the World Bank said, yeah, we'll be glad to give you another computer entry. We'll give you another line of credit. Brazil said, oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, but they said, remember, you gave as collateral the Amazon River Basin. Who owns it today? The World Bank. Brazil doesn't own it. They had to give it to them for another line of credit. Anytime the price of a gallon of gas is over $2 a gallon, it went past that a long time ago, at the gas pump, the people who control the world make over $60 billion per year. I hope you'll put that figure down. When crude oil prices increased from $30 to $50 a barrel, the world has to shell out an additional $600 billion a year to the oil-producing countries of the world, who in turn turn around and buy our national debt. Now, what is going to affect your life in the immediate? It's called Iran. It is the third largest oil field in the world. Iran has said that by a certain date, and by the way, that date was given to you tonight by Wendy. I'm not going to repeat it. I will afterwards in questions and answers if you'd like. I have a reason for not giving it right now. I'm being careful what I say tonight. I know this is being recorded. Iran has said by a certain date, we are going to flood the world with cheap oil. They have built their flow line pipes. They have their ports ready. They already have their oil wells drilled. They have the third largest oil field in the world. They've said we are going to flood the world with cheap oil. And, here's the clincher, we are going to denominate all oil sales in euros. Our president and vice president and Congress are shaking in their shoes because they know that if Iran succeeds on the date that they have said, that it will collapse the American dollar. Something must be done with Iran before that date. Watch out. A lot of people in the world have a nuclear bomb besides Iran. Why don't they go after them? North Korea, Israel, China. I could go on and on. Why don't they take them on? They have to have an excuse. You see, it was weapons of mass destruction. Did they exist? Why are they going to take Iran on now? Oh, you'll hear every reason in the world. There's a reason they won't tell you. They know that if Iran succeeds on the date that they say they're going to, it will collapse the American dollar. Because they'll undercut everybody in the world on oil sales. When President Eisenhower was President of the United States of America, Someone came to him one day and they said, "President, Smedley Butler is like you." President Eisenhower said, "No." He had such a great admiration for Major General Smedley Butler, he said, "I would like to be like him." Smedley Butler wrote a book. I'm going to give you a quote out of it. "War is a racket. It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. Only a small inside group knows what it's all about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge fortunes." Now, normally authors don't recommend other authors' books. I'm going to do so tonight. His name is John Perkins. You must get his book entitled The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It is must reading after what you've heard me say tonight. He says it in a different vein, but he says the same thing. John Perkins, I don't know how he's still alive. John Perkins was an insider. He worked for the powers that be. In his book, he says, economic hitmen are highly paid professionals who cheat countries around the globe out of trillions of dollars. They funnel money from the World Bank and the U.S. Agency for International Development and other foreign aid organizations into the coffers of huge corporations and the pockets of a few wealthy families who control the planet's natural resources. Their tools are fraudulent financial reports, rigged elections, payoff, extortion, sex, and murder. He should know he did it. And afterwards had such a guilt conscience that he had to write a book even at the cost of his own life. He is still alive. When Mr. Green, now I'm coming down to the closing and the punchline. I'm going to tell you why gasoline cannot be $1.50 a gallon at the gas pump. I'm going to tell you why they cannot allow the Gull Island oil pool to ever come to the American people. But I've got to lead up to it with this. And with that, I'm going to close. Mr. Greenspan, Federal Reserve Chairman, when he began his tenure in office, the American debt was $1.5 trillion. Today, the debt in the United States of America, and we say he's done such a marvelous job with our economy. Today, the debt is $8 trillion plus. In the month of September, go back, by the way, in your computer. You'll be able to look this up for yourself. The U.S. Treasury Bureau of Public Debt website on one day in the month of September recorded that the national debt went up $60.1 billion in one day. You can find that on your website. It was published. Our present administration, in the month of October, the Bush administration ran up a national debt of $94.4 billion in 1 month. OPEC oil producers are at maximum output. Saudi Arabia can't produce any more till they dig some more wells and put in some more flow line pipes. Every oil refinery in America is operating at 90-plus capacity. No new oil refineries have been built in the United States of America for over 20 years, and it's done by a design plan. The U.S. is importing 400,000 gallons of gasoline a day from other countries. The U.S. had 321 refineries in 1981. The U.S. only has 149 refineries today. Many plants are operating 24 hours a day with no downtime for maintenance to supply the growing demand. We are operating at 90-plus output capacity, and the least little bobble and the gasoline stations would have up signs, no gas available. Now, here is the rest of the story.